All right, good afternoon, everybody. Seeing that we have a quorum, it is officially 2 o'clock. Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. If we could do a roll call.
Member Macia,
Present.
Member Ramirez. Member Solis,
Present.
Member Gross,
Present.
Member McKillop,
Present.
Member Fuller Kudas. Member Garcia. Member Gandara,
Present.
Member Ruiz,
Present.
Member De La Cruz,
Present.
Member Hernandez.
Present.
I am.
Perfect. All right, on to the next item, the introduction of guests. Are there any guests in person who would like to introduce themselves?
Well, I'd like to introduce Mr. Ola Adelicon. He is the new GM for Transdev. We're contracted with for paratransit, so he's going to be giving the update today. So I just wanted to introduce him and
Welcome. Thank you. All right, any guests on Zoom? All right, seeing none, on to item 2, public comments on matters not on the agenda. Anybody either in person or on Zoom? Seeing none, on to the consent agenda, the approval of the minutes from the last meeting dated January 20th, 2026. There is a motion.
I move to approve the minutes of the meeting January 2026.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Next is membership, the membership update for the UTC. Christy.
Good afternoon, committee members, MSC staff, and any members of the public. Christy Sugabo, Mobility Services Manager. I just want to update this committee that Bobby Merritt stepped down as the member to represent the Veterans Transition Center. As he is no longer with VTC, I did talk to Bobby. He is doing well. I do plan on, we are planning on inviting him here for our next May meeting so that we can present him with a certificate of appreciation for his service to this committee and his membership. But I'm not sure if when I reach out to him again, whether it would be confirmed because he did mention that he will be moving out of state. So, but I do want to introduce Bobby's alternate, Serena Solis. She's the program director for the Veterans Light Fighter Village Permanent Supportive Housing. She'll be taking over Bobby's term in this committee as well as Bobby's term in the Measure Q Oversight Committee. Serena, did you want to say something to the committee or say a word or two?
Hello, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the introduction.
Thank you.
Thank you, and Serena, thank you for joining this committee as well. All right, new business, there is none. Next is public hearing on the unmet transit needs. Eric.
Yep, and I guess I'll just do it here from my seat. Good afternoon, Chair and Committee. My name is Aaron Hernandez, Transportation Planner with the Transportation Agency for Monterey County, or TAMC. This afternoon, I'm just going to provide a brief overview of the unmet transit needs process, and then after a request that we open the public hearing. The unmet transit needs process is done annually here for the March MAC. And it's a process that is required by the State Transportation Development Act under the Local Transportation Fund, which allocates 1/4% of the general sales tax that is collected statewide and comes back to the county on a population basis to support public transit services. Here in Monterey County, we have MST, which provides public transit services to all the cities in our county. Most of this money goes back to MST for transit services, and a small portion goes back to TAMC for transportation planning as well and bike and pedestrian projects. As a requirement for using these funds, we have public hearings per year to identify any needs that are not currently being met The first public hearing was held at the Transportation Agency's board meeting last month on February 25th. We just held one actually yesterday at the Greenfield City Council meeting, first in-person hearing in South County since pre-pandemic. And the third one will be held today. The public comment period for the unmet transit needs process is open until April 16th, and comments can be submitted during today's hearing or can be submitted in writing via email, by phone, or through our agency's website at tamcmonterey.org. Once the public comment period closes, TAMC staff will gather a list of all the comments received and determine whether MST can meet these needs through schedule adjustments or if they are a longer term need that requires additional grant funding. A running list of past year's unmet transit needs and their status for each is posted on the Transportation Agency's website. So that concludes my overview, and happy to answer any questions before we open up the public hearing.
I had just one. How did the meeting go in Greenfield yesterday?
We didn't receive any comments from the public and neither from the city council. I was anticipating we would receive more, but they were happy to see that I was able to make a presence down specifically at their city council meeting.
It's a quiet town.
Yeah.
I've got a question about the agenda item that's in the packet. Under unmet transit need definition, if there's a truncated statement, it doesn't finish itself. What belongs there?
I don't have it in front of me. Can you?
That statement there.
Oh, yes, and Tom specifically talking about, yeah, under the unmet transit needs definition. An unmet transit need is a public transportation need that the transportation is currently not meeting and would expect to generate ridership to meet the required 10% recovery ratio pursuant to this is, I believe it's from my memory of seeing this. It's pursuant to one of the sections of code in the Transportation Development Act. So I can clarify that and then confirm that it's referencing a certain code.
That is correct, if I may, do that through the
Yes,
chair.
sir.
That is correct. The fare box recovery ratio is something that is set by the Transportation Development Act that governs transportation funding in the state of California. It's
Any questions from Mr. Hernandez? All right, thank you, Aaron. All right, next presentations, the SURF project.
You have to open up the book.
Oh, we do. This time I'd like to open up for public comments, either through Zoom or in person. All right, seeing none, let's go ahead and close. And do we need a motion to close the public comments? Don't believe something so there. Thank you. Item 7, presentations. Receive an update on the SURF busway and project, Mr. Sidorik.
Thank you, Chair. See us. Thank you, committee members. I'm Carl Sidorik. I'm the CEO for the Monterey Salinas Transit District. And you're going to receive a presentation that was given to our board 2 weeks ago as part of a public hearing process. For this committee, it's really informational only. It's on our SURF busway and bus rapid transit project and current construction updates. Next slide. Hold on, let me get this going here so I can follow along with. Okay. All right, I'll read it from here. Okay, so one of our requirements for the project is to provide at least 2 notice public hearings annually. At our board meeting of 2 weeks ago at the MST board, we did conduct one of these public hearings. Next slide. And so for those of you who are new and aren't familiar with this project, it's a 5 mile bus only roadway adjacent to Highway 1 within the former Monterey Branch Line Rail corridor bypassing congestion between the cities of Marina and Sand City, where traffic in the mornings, those of you who make that commute, can, on average, according to cell phone data that we've looked at, on average, it goes about 8 miles per hour, sometimes not even that. This is the first route that we will be putting on the Surf Busway is our current line 20, which is one of our biggest routes that goes from downtown Salinas, the Salinas Transit Center, to the Monterey Transit Plaza. This project will add traffic signal prioritization between along Del Monte and Reservation Road. The 5 mile busway will bypass traffic along between Marina and Sand City. And then within Sand City, there'll be more traffic signal improvements as well. We'll also be constructing an additional mile of new pedestrian and bicycle trails. We will have a multimodal mobility hub that will allow people to have a drop off and pick up area, also known as a kiss and ride. If you want to drop someone off in a car, then they can use the bus to make their commute. We'll have public parking as well as overflow parking for state parks. We're adjacent to the Fort Ord Nude State Campground. Public EV charging as well as EV charging for Uber, Lyft, other TNCs. Then we're going to look at a secure bicycle storage area, being we're adjacent to the bike and pedestrian path, and with a bicycle repair station and a bicycle parts vending machine. So if you need to repair your bicycle there at the station, you'll be able to do so. So having this will allow us to provide faster, more frequent service and more reliable service. So we won't be subject to the vagaries of traffic, whether it's weekday peak or during special events, or even on during spring break, even on Saturdays and Sundays, traffic can be pretty bad along this corridor. We will be guaranteed virtually guaranteed to arrive on time more often by using this busway. Next slide. Next slide. There we go. So I wasn't sure if this is on the next slide, but it wasn't on this slide. Part of the another feature of this is that we will be using 100% zero emission buses only on that busway. So we've recently accepted 13 new zero emission buses. That brings our total fleet up to 20. It's about 20% of our heavy duty fleet is now zero emission buses. And as we expand our fleet, more buses and bus routes will be able to take advantage of this busway. So we have 3 major construction locations as part of this. As vehicles leave heading south from Marina towards Monterey, they'll leave Del Monte Avenue at Palm Avenue in Marina. And we're something that'll be the Del Monte and Palm Station. We're creating a pathway across Marina Drive to Rheindaler, which currently doesn't exist. We're making wheelchair accessibility between that neighborhood that is was literally on the wrong side of the tracks. You could not easily walk from that neighborhood, and if you had mobility limitations, it was next to impossible to get across that. We now have are building a wheelchair accessible pedestrian crossing at Rheindaler so that persons going back and forth there can access that. We're going to be putting in some decorative safety fencing, hydro seeding and landscaping, using decorative concrete. And in May, we're looking at somewhere mid-May, we'll be substantially complete at that location. So we're going to do a little mini ribbon cutting to celebrate the little victories. The first of the 3 stations will be substantially complete. So next slide. Got some pictures. We have a few slides of pictures, kind of what's been going on there before, during construction. Next slide. we can see we've greatly widened and added a ADA accessible curb, a ramp at that location. And you can see as well as where we're just improving the intersection. Next slide. There you see the rail actually being pulled up, all of the rail between the marina and Sand City. So it's about 5 miles. So 2 rails, say 10 miles of rail. I just did some quick calculations. That's 5 million pounds of rail. That rail is very heavy. It is 100% of that has been resold into the U.S. steel market. So the vendor, when they bid this project, they removed the rail and then they did a deduct for what they were going to sell it back into the U.S. steel market. That's how that works. So that's occurred, as well as the approximately 16,000 railroad ties, some of which are more than 100 years old. Those, about 75% of those have been will be recycled back into the landscape maintenance resale market. Some of them are in such bad shape, though, they're going and being disposed of at the hazardous waste facility using standards adopted by the Department of Toxic Substances Controls. And then finally, the some 30,000 tons of ballast, the rock and gravel that supports all that, that is being ground up on site, and is 100% of that is being reused as the base for the station area and all of the roadway. So that's being ground up and used as the sub base. So a great reuse of all those resources, not a lot of waste involved. Next slide. There you see, as we're heading south on the project and clearing. Next slide. And what is that? Oh, we did some flood. There was a lot of drainage issues in this neighborhood, just substandard drainage. And we had just finished, or we're nearing completion of fixing that drainage area. And we had the big downpour in February. I guess it was the last downpour we had, and we saw very little puddling, and so we tended to fix that area as well for that that neighborhood. That would have been fairly deep puddles prior to that. Next slide. And so this is the Marina Rheindaler, where we have put in an ADA crossing. Next slide. So 5th Street Station. This is on former Fort Ord, adjacent, kind of near the VA DOD clinic and all the new housing developments. 5th Street, 1st and Quartermaster. You might think of it as that area. So this is where the new station is, the park and ride, pick up and drop off. Right now, it's being used as a staging area for all of our equipment. So that's kind of at the middle area. So all the construction is being staged there, and then in the mornings, the work crews go out north or south from there. Or actually today they were paving the entire area. There were 49 paving trucks that were there today, and they're paving that whole area in one day. I was out there this morning after this meeting. I hope to go by and see it. I took some pictures, kind of the before and the after, and the next presentation we'll have that. Next slide. So there you go. That's the ballast on the right. That is the big top. That's all that ballast, the 30,000 tons that's being ground up there. Next slide. And so you see this large area that will be the where the buses will come in off of the busway, and this is where we intend to have transfers. So bus routes like the line 17 or 18 or new routes that will serve directly to CSUMB or to the Dune Shopping Center or to that growing housing area there. South Marina will have a bunch of new access to transit with this new station as we build it. Next slide. So we have 400 stakeholders that are following us, that we do email blasts out on our 4,300 followers on social media. We're putting information out on the TAMC Cone Zone. We've put on the ground changeable messaging signs. We're, doing in-person meetings, Google Map updates, having multiple community meetings throughout Marina, Sand City. On March 13th, we were in Sand City at the Edgewater Center at the Panera Bread, meeting with the management of all those businesses there, Costco and Lucky's and the rest, so that they know what the next round of construction will be. Because in the coming weeks, we'll be starting to enter construction in the California and Playa area as you enter the rail ends there, and we're going to be starting work there. So you're starting to see some work occurring there. Next slide. So this is how we have a dedicated hotline that you can call to ask us questions about the project or upcoming work. We also have a website, surfinfo@mst.org, or online mst.org/surf. So you can email us at surfinfo.org, leave a voicemail, or just to find out more information, go to mst.org/surf to get that information. Next slide. I think that might be it. That's it. Be happy to answer any questions.
I just want to thank MST and you again for the amazing work, on the surf project. And also, it amazes me every day as I sit there in traffic to see the updates as they occur in real time.
Really? So we're 6 months into construction. We're already 5 weeks ahead of schedule. So while this winter has been terrible for Kirkwood and Heavenly and Palisades, I'm a skier. Well, I'm not this year, but it's been great for construction. We're well ahead of schedule. And now that we're really out of the rainy season, we'll continue to stay on track and gain time. So the project is scheduled. We are under contract commitment to the federal government that this project will be underway by the end of March 2018. We're, like I said, 6 months in, we're 5 weeks ahead of schedule. So I was 2028, 2000. I've been doing that a lot lately. I don't know what's going on. 2028 will be March 31st. I have a inkling that it's going to be sometime before that, but that's our committed time frame. I'm not going to commit to anything other than that at this point. But like I said, we're 6 months in and already 5 weeks ahead of schedule. It's boding well. Appreciate your comments and the staff who's worked on this. We've had 77 different permits with 400 different permit conditions from 5 different jurisdictions and 2 direct lawsuits, 3 indirect lawsuits. It's been a road to get here, but we're here and it's moving forward and we're not stopping. And in just a couple of years or less, we're going to have something that it's going to be faster to travel on the bus between Salinas and Monterey than it will be by car, or at least during peak hours. Thank you very much.
Really quick,
Yeah.
one, what would it be? Dream idea. So when it all says this is done,
Mhm.
I would like a ride to see how it's gonna go because as you know, MST and us,
Mhm.
we do travel training with
Yeah.
the seniors. And so I want to go on the bus like I did in King City.
Oh, absolutely.
Make sure that, and it'd be nice if all of you join and me.
We'll be doing plenty of that. As we, we're going to have to be testing. There's gates that will open up and close and only let MST in. We have new traffic signal technology. We'll be testing that, and we'll be taking our own board and other community members out for rides before this goes live. So that's not going to be a problem. We may even do a fun run or something down the whole course of it. We're thinking of various promotional ideas to celebrate the achievement as we go.
Thank you.
Chair, through you to Carl. One other question. In the Sand City location,
Mhm.
are you guys going west of the location
Yes.
that is now? So you'll be where folks kind of are using the beach access there, just past the buildings and the shopping center behind the parking lot?
So the busway exits for a period of time, comes out at the Del Monte and Highway 1 southbound ramp.
Mhm.
we're going to build a roundabout there, so the bus will come out and just take a roundabout and come back on. At that same location where the bike and ped trail is, where you currently have to kind of divert, go under the highway and then loop back together. We're just going to straighten that out. You're just going to stay straight on the beach and keep going straight. When the bus then starts to head east or south, I guess, on Del Monte, from the freeway towards Sand City Station, we'll enter in like behind the Panera. There's still a little bit of rail there. There's going to be the busway plus a new bike lane that will go all the way to Playa in California, where the Edgewater station is and the jazz stops. We're going to build a new station there.
Okay.
We're building a new traffic signal instead of the stop signs. We're putting a traffic signal that will be coordinated with the signal on Del Monte. So that big mess of traffic as people turn left and then they back up, that should all go away. So even if you never take the bus, it'll be an improvement. Because of this project, as you continue to head into Sand City behind some of those kind of auto restoration places, the light industry, Sand City has a grant to extend the bike trail even further. As we exit out, the bike trail will continue further because it complements this project. They were able to get a active transportation program grant to build out that bike trail. So there's a lot of things happening as a result of this project that, not necessarily related, but ancillary, that will be improvements.
Terrific. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yep, thank you.
Before we move to the next presentation, I just want to go back to item number 6, public hearing. We do need to do a motion to close it. I think I got excited in hearing the updates from Carl that I didn't even hear a question whether we needed a motion. So if we can go ahead and just call a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing from item 6.
Motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so passed.
Thank you.
And then with item 7.1, when that mini ribbon cutting ceremony happens, it would be possible to get invites for everybody. So I think I missed the last one. On item 7.2, the Better Bus Network. Ms. Patel.
Good afternoon, committee. My name is Emma Patel, and I'm the planning manager here at Monterey Salinas Transit. About 3.5 years ago, MST implemented a comprehensive operational analysis, which we called the Better Bus Network. And today I'll be providing a brief overview of that. Next slide, please. So what is a comprehensive operational analysis, or a COA? A COA is a planning tool, and it evaluates how well a system is performing, and it identifies where improvements can be made. And the end result is a network redesign. Next slide, please. There are a number of reasons why MST conducted the COA, or the BBN. This included declining ridership and revenue from military partnerships, the COVID-19 pandemic, staffing resources, and we had lines that had low ridership. We had some lines that had high ridership, but low frequency. We had lines that were complex. We had lines that were indirect. So these were some of the challenges that we were looking at with the Better Bus Network. Additionally, for over 20 years, we did not have a consistent policy on how much or where to put service. So some of these were the challenges that we were looking at when conducting the BBN. Next slide, please. The redesign process spanned over about 2 years, and it had a lot of planning and community outreach. Some key steps included community engagement, public workshops, ridership analyses, and evaluating our routes. The goal was to build a network that better reflected travel patterns and community needs. And on December 10th, 2022, we implemented the board-approved network redesign. Next slide, please. So there were three main goals of the Better Bus Network. The first one was ridership over coverage. That meant focusing better frequency and better service where people actually lived and worked, rather than providing minimal service to as many places as possible. The next goal was equity over equality. And this approach targets areas that have the greatest need for public transit rather than spreading service equally among the population. And the third was regional balance, so better balancing where we were providing service. And this led to 40% of our service being allocated to Salinas, 40% to the peninsula, and 20% to other areas. Next slide, please. So the Better Bus Network reorganized a lot of the routes within Monterey County, and it created a simpler and more direct network. Prior to the Better Bus Network, a lot of our routes operated at low frequencies, with nearly half of all routes operating once an hour or less. So this made it really difficult to get to places. Service was increased in higher demand corridors, and the redesign also emphasized and improved connections between routes. It was designed around pulse points or coordinated transfer locations, and this allowed riders to transfer between routes in multiple directions with minimal wait time, and it allowed riders to transfer more efficiently and reach a wider range of destinations. Next slide, please. Our Title VI program guides how we plan to promote equity within the service, and this includes standards like ensuring that residents are within half a mile of fixed route service. Fixed route service is the most effective way to connect areas, and it allows us to carry multiple passengers at one time, especially along key corridors like Salinas to Monterey. So because of this, it's extremely important that we meet these standards, and with the Better Bus Network, we significantly exceeded these standards. Next slide, please. Alongside the redesign, MST also implemented a simplified fare structure with the most notable change of a 2-hour fare window. So under this system, riders pay a single fare of $2 for 2 hours for a regular fare, or $1 with the discounted fare. And you can make multiple transfers within those 2 hours without paying additional fares. These changes provided several benefits. It reduced the cost of trips that required transfers, and it simplified the rider experience since customers didn't need to pay for separate fares when changing buses. Next slide, please. Early results indicated encouraging trends. Within the first year of the Better Bus Network, ridership increased by over 25%. And customer surveys also showed generally positive feedback, with many riders reporting trips had become faster and easier to understand. Next slide, please. Since the Better Bus Network was implemented, MST has continued to refine the system. One focus area has been South County and expanding services down there. The addition of circulator routes, which replace the prior on-call routes, have further integrated these rural communities into the fixed route system. Line 34, King City, was implemented at the start of the Better Bus Network, and the following 3 South County city circulators followed after that. In January 2025, Soledad and Gonzales were implemented, and in May of 2025, Greenfield was implemented. And in the first 6 months of these 3 cities that started last year operating, they exceeded on-call ridership from the previous year, and not by a small amount. Gonzales was up by 56%, and Soledad saw an increase of over 200%. Next slide, please. So to summarize, the Better Bus Network represented a major modernization of MST's fixed route system. The redesign focused on simplifying the route network and improving travel times and making the system easier to use for riders. While the network continues to evolve, the redesign established a new framework for how transit service was structured across Monterey County and has proven to be a success. Comparing 2022 to 2025, for just fixed route service, we've seen an increase of 46% for ridership. Next slide, please. That's it, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you again for the presentation. I just had one clarifying question. So the $2 for 2 hours, if I, for example, were to hop on bus 23 Express then connect to bus 20. If it's within that 2 hour window, it's just the $2 fee.
You're not paying anything additional, correct?
Oh, that's-
King City to Monterey for $2.
I may consider doing that. Gas being what it is right now.
I had some questions for Emma. So I saw you presented the ridership increases for South County. But I saw King City was included there. Do you have any information on King City?
I don't have that off the top of my head, but I can get that. I included the other 3 cities because they were implemented in 2025. And King City was implemented in 2022.
Oh, yeah. One thing to note out, and I can't remember if I made this comment last time this was presented, but I know for South County, especially since the ag season is starting, there's a lot of H2A farm worker housing in each of the cities that I believe are in walking distance to the circulator routes. So it has been thought of us they're a good group of folks probably to do outreach to, that there's a service for them to utilize, because otherwise they're, at least in King City, what I see when I pass through is they're like walking across town just to get groceries and carrying it, or there's like a bus passing right by. So comment to make there. And I know with the Better Bus Network, with the implementation, I think there was some changes, I believe, in some of the Salinas routes, and the part of the Met Transit Needs process too, there was like comments submitted about I believe it was like line 48 or 49, where there was like, especially on weekends, super packed buses that folks had to wait for the next one. Is that still an issue that occurs, or have you guys received any complaints about that or concerns?
We do still see some overcrowding on some lines, like line 23 is one where we're seeing a lot of overcrowding. So that is another area where we're trying to refine the system. So we're making it easier for people to ride the bus. And we're looking at what's possible to add more service as things like that come up.
Fingers crossed, you guys are able to get the double-decker buses.
No, through the chair, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so we have what are called community project grant requests. Those are grant requests through the federal government into Representative Lofgren's office seeking double-decker buses for the South County. So that way we can double the amount of capacity without taking up any additional curb space, which is a difficult thing to do in the smaller communities. The getting space for the bus stops is problematic, so we can't build up, right? This just doesn't apply to housing, it also applies to buses.
I have one question, actually two. So there was an abbreviated word UZA. What did that stand for on the slide where you were taking the federal?
That is an urbanized zone area, and that's something that's set by the federal
Okay.
residents. Yeah.
Perfect. I thought I knew, I just didn't. And then in the last slide where you showed the ridership in comparison of 2022 to 2025, is that just general volume or is that unique ridership?
That was just total ridership.
Okay.
That included fixed route and rides, taxis, all ridership within the system.
Okay, perfect. Do you have any data around the unique ridership increases with those particular cities in South County? Obviously, you know, the usage went up, but was there an increase in unique ridership as well?
Unique ridership as in like people.
Right.
We don't have that type of data. We aren't tracking like who's actually using the bus.
Okay, so with the now tap and pay, you can't tell.
For tap and pay, we can. That hasn't been hugely utilized within South County though.
Thank you. Those are my questions.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Next for presentations, item 7.3, the Salinas Rapid Bus Transit Center relocation.
Hello, committee members. Michelle Overmeyer. I'm the Director of Planning and Innovation. I don't have a PowerPoint for you, but my staff report is on page 41. So this is the Salinas Rapid Bus and Transit Center relocation project. If you go to MST's website, about halfway down on the right, you'll see that project title, and you can click on it and get to the project webpage where we have documents listed. Your committee received a presentation on this project at its November meeting, and so I wanted to give you some updates since that time. So we did quite a bit of outreach in the months of October through December. The team successfully reached approximately 428 community members through events like pop-ups, intercept surveys that were in Spanish and English, bus ride-alongs. So we feel like we got widespread participation and valuable feedback on this study. The survey that we did collected 360 responses. Most of the survey respondents were Salinas residents that live near the East LaSalle Street and Williams Road study corridor. They did rank their priorities for MST service, and bus operations is always at the top. So number one is more frequency along the corridor, and then the second is better on-time performance. And the on-time performance is really important because you heard from Emma that our new system, or newer, now that it's 3 years old, relies on these timed transfers at the hubs. And so if we can't stay on schedule, then our passengers could miss their transfers. And that could be devastating if you're trying to get to school on time, or if you're trying to get to a job that has a zero tolerance policy for late arrivals. So our passengers want to see better on-time performance. Through the survey, we also presented some options for roadway cross sections, and you'll see that in the attachment to the staff report, and it's shown on the screen here. So we're looking at ways that we can speed up the bus along the LaSalle and Williams corridor. So we're looking at cross sections and ways that we can use the existing road right-of-way. So and we're looking at 3 different segments from Front Street to Barden Road. So in all the segments, the side running bus lane option was ranked the highest by the people that took the survey. And we're also looking at existing conditions. So not having a dedicated bus lane, but doing some treatments at intersections, improving bus stops, maybe having the curb extensions, the bulb out, so there's more space there for our passengers. So those are the 2 alternatives that are going forward. Another part of the study is looking at the possibility of relocating the Salinas Transit Center, which is our major transit hub in downtown Salinas. What we heard from the people that took the survey is that they would like to see more public restrooms. Right now, we only have the one Portland Loo that's out there. And we did get a report from our maintenance department this week that our maintenance staff had 61 service calls to that one location over a 4-month period. So there's some trade-offs here. If we do get more public restrooms, it's going to require more servicing. But our public also wanted to see better lighting, more visible security guards, and more seating. So that was what came from the survey in the fall. The next steps on this study are for the corridor piece. The consultant is preparing public draft designs that will be posted on that webpage I talked about. They're also preparing an opinion of probable cost, which is the engineer's estimate for putting in dedicated lanes or intersection improvements. The consultant team is also developing a schedule for advancing engineering, environmental clearance, right-of-way acquisition, and construction. At this point, I don't think there's any right-of-way acquisition that's going to happen as part of this project. They're also developing opening year operating cost estimates. So what would it cost MST to operate additional service if this were to happen? And then an environmental risk assessment of bus rapid transit. And then for the Salinas Transit Center relocation piece, there are 3 locations that we're advancing. Those are posted on the project webpage. So we're looking at the Salinas Intermodal Transportation Center, at the existing parking lot on West LaSalle across from the post office. So Lincoln and I think it's Capitol. And then the third location is on John Street, between South Main and Monterey. So the consultant is going to be doing an evaluation, looking at consistency with existing land uses, the capital costs of locating at all of those 3 sites, implications on the nearby circulation, the integration with our existing transit system and where our current routes go and how it would connect with this hub, and then an environmental risk assessment. So we still have a lot to do. We'll be posting more materials on our webpage. We have another round of community engagement this summer, and we'll be coming back to you with another update as we get closer to that second round of outreach. So I can answer any questions you have.
All right, thank you. All right, next item 8, reports and informational items. We get the MST ride service updates.
So, good afternoon, Mr. Chair, distinguished committee members. My full name is Olanrewaju Adelekan. I know that's hard, but feel free to call me Ola. I am the new general manager with Transdev. I know you introduced me. Do I need to introduce myself fully? Well, I'm originally from Nigeria. I'm an architect by profession. I also have an engineering degree and an MBA. So I've been here exactly. I started February 16th. So it's approximately six weeks. 6 weeks. So it's an honor for me to be here, for the very first time meeting you all. So I'm just going to dive straight into my report. So the report you see here is the trip by purpose operated by Transdev. This report categorizes trips that are based on reasons, for travel, giving insight into why our customers are using the service. During the first 2 months of FY 2026, Transdev delivered a total of 12,980 trips, as you see, across 5 major categories, namely education/training/daycare, personal recreational, medical, dialysis, and employment. Education/training/daycare remains the largest category, reflecting strong demand for access to education, workforce training, and childcare services. A total of 4,909 trips were delivered, which represent approximately 39% of the entire trip. Second on the list was personal/recreational, which is a significant portion of trips that support social engagement and independence, underscoring the importance of mobility beyond core medical needs. During this period, a total of 3,120 trips were delivered, which represent approximately 25%. Third on the list is the medical trips. Consistent utilization of medical trips indicates ongoing reliance on transportation for routine and specialized healthcare services. During this period, Transdev delivered a total of 1,939 trips, which represent approximately 15% of the entire trips. Fourth on the list is dialysis. High-frequency, life-sustaining trips continue to represent a critical service segment requiring reliability and consistency. Transdev delivered a total of 1,854 trips during this period, which represents approximately 15% of the entire trip. And the last but not the least, under here are the employment trips, which in this report happens to be the smallest, delivering 801 trips, representing only 6%. While the smallest category, these trips play a vital role in supporting economic participation and workforce access. My key takeaways here, if you look at the education/daycare slash personal recreational or combined. Approximately 69 of all trips are tied to structured recurring needs. Second on the list here is medical and dialysis trips. Both combined represent approximately 30% of the entire trips, which highlights the continued importance of healthcare access as a core service priority. And the last but not the least here is employment trips. While again, this might be lower in volume, presents an opportunity for growth and targeted outreach. Transdev is committed to delivering a safe, reliable, and equitable transportation services to our communities. Please, next slide. In this next slide, this report categorizes trips that are based again on reasons for travel, giving insight to why customers are using the services. These trips is operated by our subcontractor Yellow Cab. During this period, Yellow Cab provided a total of 4,969 trips, again across 5 key service categories, namely personal/recreational, in which 1,440 trips were delivered. This represents approximately 30% of the entire trips. The second on the list is employment trips, in which accounted for 1,035 trips, representing 21% of the entire trips during those 2 months period. Third on the list is the educational trips, which delivered 962 trips, approximately 20% of the entire trips. Third are the medical trips, in which 840 trips were delivered, representing 17% of the entire trips. And the last but not the least, dialysis trips, which accounted for 587 trips, representing approximately 12% of the entire trips. As you can see in the data shows that personal and recreational trips represent the largest share of service, reflecting strong utilization of social and community-based mobility. Importantly, employment and educational trips accounted for over 40% of all trips, demonstrating Yellow Cab's significant role in supporting access to jobs and educational opportunities. Additionally, medical and dialysis trips both combined nearly 30% of all trips, underscoring our subcontractors' contribution to delivering critical and life-sustaining transportation services. Overall, Yellow Cab has maintained a well-balanced service delivery, effectively supporting both essential and quality of life transportation needs for our customers. Transdev will again continue to work closely with our subcontractor Yellow Cab to monitor performance and ensure service reliability aligns well with the demand. Next slide. Just a few minutes. So this report here presents the breakdown of trip level performance by the vehicle service type, giving a clear picture of how our cutaway vehicles and the taxis are being utilized. As you see in the data shows a strong start in FY 2026, with ridership peaking in the summer months, particularly in July, in which 11,328 trips were delivered, as well as in September, which delivered 13,119 trips, which represents the highest monthly volume in the period reviewed. Following this peak, there was a gradual seasonal decline, which began in the month of October, as you see right here, reaching the lowest point in November for 8,658 trips, as well as December, 8,869 trips. This trend is consistent with typical seasonal patterns, including reduced travel during late fall and holiday periods. Encouragingly, ridership begins to stabilize and slightly recover in January, as you see right here, delivering 8,925 trips, and in February, 9,024 trips, which indicates a return to normal service demand level after the holiday dip. From a service delivery perspective, as we all know, the cutaway vehicles, which are bigger, continue to carry majority of trips, highlighting the importance of core operations, while the taxis also provide consistent supplemental support, helping to maintain service reliability and flexibility. Next slide, please. The slide we're seeing here are the rides passengers. These reports represent the data about ridership and how the service is being utilized. Speaking about the overall trend, you will see that at the beginning, ridership shows a strong recovery growth from FY 2024 through FY 2025, followed by a mixed but generally stable performance in 2026. When you look at FY 2025, it appears to be the peak year across most months, with FY 2026 showing early strength, but some softening mid-year. In terms of the fiscal year breakdown, speaking of FY 2024, the monthly ridership generally ranges between 7,500 to 10,800 passengers. Lower volumes are noticeable in the mid-year month, for example, June to July. In FY 2025, there were consistent increase across nearly all months as compared to FY 2024. Monthly ridership typically falls between 9,500 to 12,300 passengers. In FY 2026, as you see right here, we had a very, very strong start between July and September, outperforming prior years, including a high of 13,119 in the month of September. However, FY 2026 had a gradual decline in the later months from October through February, with ridership dipping into the 8,600 to 10,400 range. In summary, we can deduce or conclude that the rides has successfully rebounded and grown in ridership post FY 2024. Next slide. The slide you see right here represent the year-to-date passengers per vehicle revenue hour performance, which is comparing the FY 2025 and FY 2026 against the contract standard of 1.87. Speaking about the FY 2025 performance summary, which range from low 1.5 in December to a high of 1.84 in April. As you see in the trend, it was consistently below that contract standard of 1.87 all year. Although it did show some stronger months in February, which had 1.78, March 1.78, and in April 1.84, which was the closest in standard. Weaker months in FY 25 were in the month of December, which had 1.5, as well as November, which had 1.62. My takeaways from this FY 2025 report, which of course was not operated by Transdev, it was operated by MV during those years. FY 2025 shows stable but underperforming productivity. It never met the required 1.87 threshold. Performance improved slightly in late winter / early spring, but did not reach that compliance level. In FY 2026, however, which had a very strong start, July had 1.93, August had 2.21, and September delivered 2.36, which was the peak in that period. Following this peak, however, there was a gradual seasonal decline, which I mentioned earlier, which began in October, reaching the lowest point in January. The decline period in FY 2026 were in October, which had 1.55. November had 1.52, December 1.47, likewise January 1.47. However, in February, it began to show some recovery, in which 1.8, which we delivered 1.880, approaching that 1.87 standard. My takeaway from this FY 2026 report is that it began significantly well and exceeded that standard of 1.87 in 3 consecutive months, as we see here from July through September. For me, the challenge I do not see here is the challenge of capability. It shows that the system indeed is capable of delivering beyond that standard threshold of 1.87, as we see in the month of July, August, and September. And the last slide here is the on-time performance. This slide represents the year-to-date on-time performance, which is comparing FY 2025 and FY 2026 against the contract standard of 90%. As you see from the data, FY 2026 shows a strong recovery and sustained improvement. It consistently met or exceeded that 90% standard. FY 2025, on the other end, underperformed, with a steady decline throughout the year, finishing well below standard. In terms of comparing the contract compliance FY 25 versus FY 26, again, FY 26 met or exceeded that 90% standard in nearly every month, August through June, peaking around 94%, while FY 2025 fell below standard. Year-over-year trend comparison, FY 2025 trend started moderately strong, was between 85 to 86%, but it declined steadily to approximately 82% by June. FY 2026 trend in its own began to a near standard. In the first month of July, it had 89.61, which was very close to the standard of 90%. And it quickly improved and stabilized between 91 to 94% almost all through. Maintained consistent performance and had minimal volatility. In summary, FY 2026 reflect a successful turnaround in service reliability with consistent achievement of contractual standards. So there's been a great improvement if you look at FY 2025 versus FY 2026. There's a lot of work that has put in, and I want to, I wish I could take the credit, for the success here. I wish I could look at me, Mr. Carl, in the eyes or Kevin and tell him I did all this happened under my watch, but that won't fly. But I want to give credit to the team, which we have. Everybody, working very, very outstandingly. And if you ask me what is behind the reasons behind this success, I will tell you the success is anchored on operational improvement. It is anchored on better schedule optimization. It is anchored on improved dispatching, proactive real-time management, not forgetting outstanding vehicle performance or vehicle maintenance, which is what you see here today. This concludes my presentation. I will be happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
Seeing none, thank you. You're welcome. All right, item 8.2, MST mobility updates.
I know there's a slide. There you are. All right. So our last meeting back in January, I presented programs and mobility programs funded by Measure Q updates on 5 of the core programs that MST offers to our customers. One of the program was MST Rides, at which I shared this slide that illustrates the certification by age in percentage. And I was asked by your chair for more detailed information on this certification. So next slide, please. So here, this illustrates more detailed information on the certification by age and the increments of 10. So you can see that based on age, 71 to 80 are our highest enrolled participants, and then followed by 61 to 70, and then 80 to 90. And then it goes down as the age. Last year, we did have 2 individuals who were 101, and then one who was 103. Our youngest is we have 4 that's under the age of 10.
10?
Correct, yeah.
Do they ride with like a parent or a guardian, or they just call up the service?
Well, usually so it's a little bit complicated when it comes to individuals who are under the age of 5 when it comes to determining eligibility for paratransit. Eligibility is based on team. So the child who is applying, when we determined eligibility, is whether they can travel on our bus system with their care provider, their parent, or their guardian. So it's determined as a team. And so likely when they do start using the service, they would be traveling with either their parent or their care provider. Any questions on this follow-up update from the requests from your meeting in January?
Yeah, question. I had a 95 and 94-year-old couple that registered rights. And they were not happy that they had to go to the doctor because limitations with rides. They don't have any children, they don't have any family here. And so their question from them to MST was, is there a possibility that they can just sign up without having the doctor sign and all this and everything because of their age? So that's a question that I'm bringing to the table to answer if anybody else can.
That is actually a great question. MST Rides is a complementary service to our fixed route city bus system. And eligibility for this program is not based on age, but rather based on the individual's functional ability to ride our bus. So there, our current certified individuals in the program are either cannot use the city bus at all by themselves. They can use the city bus sometimes for some of their trips, but not all of their trips. So it's not based on the age. What's the current certification process that we have for initial certification is we do require applicants to come in and complete the whole interview process, but to recertify, that's done by phone. If they are to come in and do their interview in person, we understand that there is a burden in transportation. That's why they're applying for transportation, right? But as a requirement, we are required to provide free transportation to and from the interview if the applicant does not have any means of transportation to and from the interview using MST rides. And so for those individuals who may not have used public transit before, new to the system, this would be like their firsthand experience riding the bus system to and from the interview.
Thank you.
Taxi, just fine, over 65.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, so going as Carl mentioned, so we do have taxi voucher program. So there's 3 different categories for the taxi voucher
I
program.
told them in the taxi
Mhm.
vouchers and the rides, and that was their question. I even offered an $11 bus pass for them to go on the bus, and they said, that's too dangerous for us. They felt more secure because they've seen the bus go in their neighborhood and how it goes to the curb and pick up folks. And so they like that idea. And then obviously when we introduced the taxi vouchers and all that, or the taxi, right away they enrolled.
Awesome.
But that was the question because again, fragile
Mm-hmm.
mom or the woman is very fragile. She's, like I said, she's 94, husband is 95. Very alert, but as we get older, you know, we're really slow.
Mhm.
So that was the concern that I was asking because I have a lot of seniors that, you know, also limitations on making an appointment with their doctor if they don't have to go.
Yeah.
And so that even if it's $5, their copay or et cetera, it's a limited funds for them to go to their doctor and have them fill out, and then they have to wait and all that. So I want to make sure I know everything before we keep going.
Mhm.
This past 3 months, we have enrolled so many, and I know Ruben has seen, we have enrolled so many rides, applications, and taxi vouchers. I think we have a lot of seniors now that are not driving anymore and want to take advantage of the transportation and, you know, all that. And I'm so glad that we have between MST and ourselves the travel training because they get excited. They get excited about, oh, good, I don't have to just stay home and, you know, vegetate and stuff like that. So, and then that's why I asked if we can get invited to when you have the grand opening for the new one, you know, making sure that they know about them. But thank you.
Thank you. And I'm glad to hear that there is a increase in your enrollment on your side, because these program is for this for them. So it's great to know that it's being utilized there. Mhm.
I've got a question.
Uh-huh.
So for those older adults that Raina was speaking of, does that individual have to go to their doctor to get that form completed, or could they do it through like a telehealth appointment, or can the doctor just directly send you their medical report to verify their
That would be good.
lack of ambulatory ability?
Yeah. So to answer the first question about having to come in person, yes, we do require everyone who's new to applying to come in person. The doctor's office having to send it over to us instead of the applicant sending it over to us. That actually was a process many years ago. But what ended up happening is we would never receive the document from the doctor's office. And I don't know, we don't know
So
why.
what I did with this couple, because, you know, they didn't have a way to go to their doctor,
Mhm.
I called and I asked, do you have a fax machine and email? I said, I have a request for these 2 members that you have, and they are going to be getting the rights program. Of course, they knew. And I sent it. And then I told the couple, as soon as they call you that get it, call me and I'll go get it, or they
Mhm.
can send it back to me. So that's what I've been doing for that, especially because again, like I said, the limitations on their age to go to the doctor, get out, et cetera. And especially when they're so fragile, from whatever transportation they get off, they still have to walk inside the building and everything else. So, we're trying to assist as much as we can. So that's what we've been doing. We've been doing like if we can, send it to the doctor, and then obviously when it's done, then they call them and call us to say it's ready, and then we send it to you.
And I appreciate the assistance with your clients.
I see no further questions. Thank you, Christine.
I actually have some kind of announcement as well. So I do want to give you all a friendly reminder to complete your annual statement of economic interest form 700, in case you haven't completed it, and provide Ruben a copy of that. And then our mobility department, we are planning on few activities this year. One is our Navigator Appreciation Day, where we meet with our navigators and have lunch and talk about the activities that they've done over the years. And then we are also planning on Youth Navigator Transit Day. This is under our Navigator Volunteer Program, where we will be inviting our youth in our community. This is by registration, where they'll get a chance to meet staff members here at MST, play transit scavenger hunt game. They'll get to ride our bus system. They'll get to do a little bit of planning with our planning department. They'll be able to tour our operations facility out at in Monterey here. So it's a fun-filled day for our youth that is scheduled for June 10th. And then we are also planning for our annual Senior Transit Day. This is a little bit different from our previous years. This year, we are actually inviting partners to do what's called a panel presentation to our attendees. So that's May 20th. And then also tomorrow's Ruben's birthday. So
Yeah.
happy birthday to Ruben.
Harry.
21, all right.
And that's it for my update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When is your birthday, Christine?
Board meeting day in April.
Next one.
Yes.
As far as other announcements and appreciations.
Thank you. I made this announcement today at TAMC, so I thought you'd all be interested. On March 9th at 4:51 a.m., our MST Operations Center received a call from Monterey Public Safety informing us that there was a housing authority complex called Casanova Plaza that was fully engulfed in a fire. Our team of 5 persons worked together with the incident command, 2 drivers, over the next 2 hours evacuated 97 residents, their pets, and what few belongings they had to the Hyatt Regency, to the Hyatt for temporary housing on March 12th and 13th. We carried 27 of those individuals over to the Country Inn in Marina. And yesterday, we took another 10 of those from that location to Pacific Meadows and to Rippling River. So I just wanted to thank our team as well as the TransDev team that was also involved in some of those transports as well for continuing to work with these low-income seniors and disabled who were part of this tragedy. So thank you to them.
Thank you. We were there this past Tuesday and we gave out 30 bus passes to those seniors. We saw 40 seniors, very, 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 very scared. But I kept seeing the rides bus back and forth and I said, yay. So, and of course, all the work that you do. And thank you so much for MST for doing that because it's so important that they know we have transportation services and stuff, so yeah.
All right, I have one announcement. The Blind and Visually Impaired Center is hosting a wine social on April 25th. It's a Saturday. It'll be at Odonata Winery from 12 o'clock noon to 2 o'clock PM. Free wine, free food. If anybody's able to come and just do a quick collab.
I just have a comment for the question you had, Reina. That who can sign the form for the MST rights? It can be either a doctor, their optometrist, their chiropractor, licensed clinical social worker, or a registered nurse. It doesn't particularly have to be just their doctor. So if they have a social worker working with them that is licensed, she can sign that
That's good
form.
to know.
She or he can sign that form too.
Good.
That was it.
Thank you.
All right, item 10, subject item request for anything on the future upcoming agendas. Seeing none, let's adjourn at 3:21.